Well, hello there. If, like me, you like experimenting with your Insta360 Ace Pro and you like to fit on these polarizing filters, this is a variable ND filter that goes from 2 to 32 and it's controlled by this little knob on the side. But first, what you'll need is a square adapter with a circular outside. This one just happens to be, if you can see it, this one just happens to be a 49, but this one is very similar, but the only difference is it's got an Allen key on the side. But you can pick these up for about £3 to £5 on Amazon, but they do take a little bit of delivery time. But anyway, so I'm using the 52 on here at the moment, but as I've got these in my hand, if like me, you like to get a little bit close up with some of your images and photography, you can buy diopters like this. This is a +2 diopter, which brings things a little bit closer for the Ace Pro. Unlike the Pocket 3 that I'm using now, you can get to within 8 inches, but with the Insta360, you've got to be a good arm's length away for everything to be in focus, otherwise it goes a little bit astray. But otherwise, these little diopters, you can get these packet of 4 for about anything between 10 and 15 pounds, I suppose, and they're quite good actually, very versatile. But I do recommend that you get the bigger lenses just in case you want to go to a full-size camera and get something that's slightly bigger. Anyway, so this here is a polarizing filter. I don't know if you can make it out. If I get my white hand, there we go. You can see it's not that dark, so this isn't too bad a filter. But if you want cinematic photography where you want to get a little bit of motion blur, if you look at my hand, you might see a bit of motion blur going on there. So if you want a little bit of motion blur, what you need to do is you need to reduce the amount of light coming into the camera so that the lens stays open for longer, the shutter stays open for longer. Now what I do is I set my Insta360 to 24 frames a second, and then I change my exposure to 1/, double the frame rate, and they call that the 180 rule. So although I'm shooting in 24, I sometimes bump it up to 25 frames a second so that I can reduce my shutter speed down to 1/50. You can go to the extremes if you want a shutter speed of 60, and you then have your frames per second up to 60 and your shutter speed down to 1/120th of a second. That's if you want. But I just use the industry standard, which is about 24 frames per second. Unfortunately, it won't let me do 1/48 on here. So this polarizing lens that we were talking about, you fix it to your square adapter here. It just simply screws on, but then the outside edge, it rotates to give you your polarization. Polarization simply means that light can pass through this way, right, but it can't pass through that way. So that's why you get some of the reflections. Your reflected light will have a different path. And what the variable density polarizing filter is a bit like this with that, or should I go that way round? All right, so you can imagine when it's this way round, you're getting plenty of light coming through. But when you start turning these two planes, you get to a point where they're blocked and no light will get through. And this is what happens on this here. I don't know if you can make out. You can see that's actually set to the clearest part of the lens. Now I've set this camera up so that the polarizing filter is at its best for this shooting position. So what you have to do is you have to rotate. I don't know if you can see it changing. You rotate the outer part, this part here with the knobs on, that will change the light coming in to the camera. So it's at its minimum there. I don't know if you can make it out, but then you go to your maximum up there, which is 32. So you turn the whole thing around, turn the whole of the outside around until you find the correct polarizing that you need. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop waffling on using the Pocket 3, and I'm going to change over to the Insta360, and I'm going to start filming from that. So I'm going to set this lens so that it's fully open, and then I'm going to start recording, and then I'm going to shut it down to the correct level for this particular light that we've got coming in. It's not particularly sunny, but it's enough. Anyway, so I'll be back with the next camera. Well, hello there. I'm back again. As you can see, I'm rather blown out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate those little tiny brass knobs so that we're going to get slightly more dark. The filter's going to go darker. And there we go. That's me on maximum. That's an ND filter of 32, and I've got the polarizing effect. I doubt very much that we'll see anything. If I rotate this fully round by 360, we may see the background changing, the reflection in the lights. No, it's not doing it. Won't. It's not the right angle for the light. It's got to be 90 degrees to the camera to make the light the reflections change. So this is now currently on my ND 32, the variable ND set to 32, and so there's a little bit of motion blur. Now motion blur is used in the film industry to take away some of the harshness from the video. If you're shooting it in 4K 60 and you haven't got any motion blur in it, it will look very harsh, especially when you stop it. You'll get as if it's a still and there's nothing moving, whereas if you use this method and you stop the footage, you'll find that things that are moving within the frame will be slightly blurred, and anything that's rock solid will be in focus, and that's what they call motion blur. Things that move get blurry, which is what the human eye can actually do. When you're looking out, say, a train window or a car window, and you're driving along, things don't look that sharp, do they? So this is why they do it. It's to make it look more natural to the eye when you're watching a movie. So, and it can be done on this one using the lens, but you can do it electronically now. So if you go into your settings, you'll simply get a button to press, and it will give you artificial motion blur. But this is a quick way, cheap way, and of course we know that us photographers, we know that it's a lot easier in the long run to put the filter on the camera and get what you want straight away, because otherwise you can be there for hours trying to get what you want with motion blur. Anyway, so I've waffled on for quite a few minutes, so hopefully you will enjoy this. Hopefully you will understand what I'm talking about, and I'm going to go on and do another one. Catch you later. See you on the next video. Bye then.